Hey guys, welcome back to this channel. So this comparison is a bit different than all the other comparisons, and you already saw it by reading the title. This is a comparison between the display of the iPhone 13 Pro and the Nintendo Switch OLED. So I thought to make a comparison because both devices are kind of OLED. This is not OLED, actually. This is a Super Retina HDR. That's how Apple has named it. And this is an OLED Nintendo Switch. So this is the newest model. It's not like the previous model with an LCD display. This is the OLED display. And I thought to give you a comparison to see what the differences are and all of that. So first thing first, the first thing that pops up is how big this screen looks like next to this iPhone 13 Pro Max. It actually looks like an iPhone 13 mini next to this gigantic thing. But then again, do you want to have this big of an iPhone? No, absolutely not. No one would like to walk with this thing in his pocket. It doesn't even fit in your pocket. You need to have like a suitcase walking around. It reminds me of those phones of the 90s. It's kind of weird to walk with an iPhone this size in today's standards. Yeah, absolutely. When you have a Nintendo Switch, you want to have a bigger display because you're playing games on it, and a bigger display means a better gaming experience. But that's actually it. That's where the Nintendo Switch wins the game. On all other aspects, the iPhone 13 Pro Max wins this game big time. Let's first talk about the difference between OLED and a Super Retina HDR display. Well, Retina is basically, so normal Retina is basically an OLED display. Apple claim that name because they want to present things differently. They don't say you have like I don't know, 64 gigabytes of storage. They say you have a million of tunes in your pocket. That goes the same for its display. They don't call it OLED display because they want to distinguish themselves from other brands. They call it a Retina display. Now, in today's standards, we have an iPhone 13 Pro Max, and now they call it a Super Retina HDR display with ProMotion. And that last one basically means when it comes to refresh rate, your iPhone calculates how many refresh rates you need. If you are playing a heavy game on it, such as Asphalt and all of that, it calculates the amount of rates and it adjusts that accordingly. This one though, Nintendo Switch, has a refresh rate of 60 Hertz. So yeah, even if they cranked up that refresh rate up to 120 Hertz, no game in today's standards will be able to run that high of a refresh rate because yeah, it doesn't have such things as Call of Duty. There's no Call of Duty as far as I know. There's no Call of Duty in this game and games like Asphalt and all of that. So yeah, a 60 Hertz refresh rate will come with your Nintendo Switch, where if you buy an iPhone, on the other hand, and I know both devices are completely different from each other, if you buy an iPhone, you will get a 120 Hertz refresh rate. When it comes to the brightness, we have 1000 nits on the iPhone. So if I crank, and it's already cranked all the way up. So if you are on the beach and all of that, or walking in a bright room, you need that display cranked all the way up. Otherwise, it will just look like something like this, and you don't want that. So yeah, the iPhone display has 1000 nits, whereas the Nintendo Switch does have like around 340 nits. Yeah, and to demonstrate that, let's go to settings, screen brightness, and you see that the brightness of this screen is already cranked all the way up. So this is how a bright screen looks like on the Nintendo Switch, and this is how it looks like on the iPhone, and this is just a black screen on the background. Keep that in mind. If I go to a white screen, you see a huge difference between the iPhone and Nintendo Switch. Let's go and see if True Tone's turned on, and it is. Let's turn that off, and even then, we see that the white of this display is kind of gray, whereas the white of this display is actually white, and it looks like paper white. So it's almost exactly, it resembles almost the whiteness of a true white object. Let's go back to that Retina term, because what does that even mean? Because we saw a Retina display all the way back to the iPhone 4 and 4S, I guess. And what it actually means is, it's like I said, it's a term that's coined by Apple, And it means that the pixel density on the screen is very high, that you can't notice any pixels with your naked eye. So if we look closely, I can just bring this iPhone all the way up to the lens of this camera, and you will not be able to see any pixels, obviously. When it comes to the Nintendo Switch, there are also no pixels in there. Let's go back to an actual game to see if there are any pixels. And yeah, I see them. You really need to look really closely to see any pixels on that screen. I mean, we see here, like on those hills, you see some kind of pixels on there. So even an OLED display will show you some of those pixels. When it comes to the iPhone, and I can go to a Super Mario game, I also have Super Mario Run on the iPhone, and look how bright that image looks like. Let's type to begin. I mean, we can go to the actual game. This is just an image. Let's go to the actual game and see if there's any difference. And we have here the map. Okay, we have here the map, and I don't see any pixels whatsoever. It's actually, it's almost like an HD image, or it's almost like a high definition image. And if we even go and play the actual game to see if there are any, and as you see here, there are no pixels whatsoever. I'm losing big time, but hey, whatever. I'm just filming this video. It's just for the sake of this video, and you see there are no pixels whatsoever, like you see here. Yeah, and that's actually the difference between a Nintendo Switch OLED and a Super Retina XDR display. That's actually the difference. And yeah, that brings us to the conclusion of this video. The iPhone has a better display, as you may have thought. The white on the screen is just white, whereas if we go to the white of this screen, and I just go to the system settings to show you that, you see it's kind of grayish. Like, it's not that white. And I mean, they might have chosen to make that screen gray on the background. If we go to screen brightness, yeah, you see that there is a small difference. Do you notice that with your naked eye without having the iPhone next to it? Absolutely not. You will just have a good looking display you can play your games on. So I'm not bashing the Nintendo Switch. It's actually a very good console. It's one of the best consoles I ever owned. And yeah, I really much like it. But when it comes to a comparison between the display of the iPhone and the Nintendo, the iPhone wins big time. So yeah, that's actually it. I hope you guys like this video. If you've liked this video, watch one of my recent videos right here. Don't forget to like this video. Thank you so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.